What's up, Gunpla fans? This is Joey Ganota coming at you with another video, and today we're going to do a video response to Justinius builds, his video entitled "How is your backlog affecting you?" Now, in today's modern social media driven society of clickbait titles, I really thought it was going to be a video of him taking a hard stance one way or the other about backlogs and, expounding upon whether or not they're good or bad. Etc., etc. But he actually wanted to create a dialogue, which I should have known because Justinius builds. Justin is a really cool guy, and he doesn't usually make those hard stances on things in the Gunpla community because he's just a cool guy who wants to build model kits, have fun, and he's very open to helping other people improve their skills and things like that. Yeah, I wanted to give my response to what it's like having a backlog. I'd like to start off with saying, for those of you who don't watch my channel or don't know anything about me, or you don't follow me on Twitter, or you don't interact with me much on social media because I'm not actively participating in any specific Facebook groups. When someone says backlog, typically you think, oh, they've got between like 5 and 20 kits, ready to be built, whatever. Then, they'll get to them as they can. I'm one of those people who, you could say I'm a box collector. And that, we'll get to how I feel about that momentarily. But just to go ahead and show you what I mean by backlog, follow me for a moment. It starts there, and it goes down to the floor. These boxes here are empty from some shipments I've gotten in. Then there's this here, this mess. Back up to the ceiling. Back over all the way to the wall. Back down, and then even behind this second desk here, there's more. It goes all the way down. This is my in-progress pile, and then out in my living room, I have even more kits that are in progress and a few kits that are unbuilt. So when I say backlog, that's my backlog. It is about 700 kits or so, something like that. Yeah, so backlog. I have a warehouse. I know there are a few people out there who are in this group of people that have their own store worth of Gunpla that they've collected over the years. So I felt very obligated to weigh in, and just share my experience with the backlog. I've been building Gunpla pretty much consistently from like January of 2000, maybe even December of 1999, until today. I mean, it's been a very consistent. More than half my life has been dedicated to this hobby. And I started when I was in high school, 8th grade, actually, 8th grade. And I was very obsessed very quickly with Gunpla. Just a really quick recap, because I have videos about how I got into the hobby already. Really quick recap. It was a Christmas party at my cousin's house, and he brought down a 1/144 scale sand rock to the basement where we were chilling out, and I immediately fell in love. I wanted one, so I ran out, and then I found out they had bigger scale kits, so I got the Wing Gundam and the Death Scythe 1/100 scale high grades, and it bloomed into everything you just saw. There was only one stint in high school where I was still too young to really be working, um, and my dad had lost his job because the company unexpectedly declared bankruptcy, and we were just the family was struggling for a little bit, and there was a 6 month stint where um, I wasn't taking an allowance, which I had been previously paid some money each week to do chores and whatnot. But I was just family struggling, so no allowance, no big deal. It's a family thing. You work as a family. And one day, uh, I think mom had scratched off a lottery ticket that she had scrounged enough change to get, and she got some extra money, and um, she decided let's everyone go and treat ourselves to something small. And that ended my dry spell. And shortly after that, my dad got a job again, and then I started working, at my own job and things like that. So, but I remember going so long without having built a kit, 6 or 7 months, and this was when Toys R Us was getting in the high grade Universal Century kits, and I bought the Goof, and it was the first kit I had built in so long. I was so excited, and I still have it, and it's a very memorable, special kit for me. Um, by the way, I know we have a Revive, which I just built recently, but the original high grade Universal Century Goof is still a really good kit, even for its age. So anyway, from there it just kept going and going and going and going, and I always had a few kits in my backlog because I was a kid, or even when I got into college, I still had a lot of spare time. So I was building at a reasonable pace, and of course back then my standards for finishing a kit were pretty low. I mean, I had finally graduated. I mean, the original wing kits, let's be honest, I was just snapping them off the runners, which they all looked terrible. And I wasn't painting, I was using stickers for the longest time. And then when I got into the Universal Century line, I started painting instead of using stickers. I eventually built more wing kits to replace the crappy ones that I had done and things like that. And so as my skills improved, of course, it takes a little more time to complete. So skip ahead a few years, I think it was 2009 or 2010, I started having a considerable backlog. I mean, it was probably between 20 and 30 kits, mostly master grades at the time. And yeah, but I started up a blog, which is, I mean, it still exists. I just haven't used it in forever. Um, and I started building more regularly so I could share that with the community. And then, I got very, very involved in a relationship, and that took away some time. But then at the same time, she would also build with me. And then when that ended, when that relationship ended, I had already been very depressed from a very bad job, and then losing that very bad job and being unemployed for a year. I was very, very depressed. And then we split, and I had to move back with my parents, and that was like the biggest blow to my my pride, is that I had to move back in with my parents. But they were, very gracious, and it was no big deal to them. It hurt my pride after being independent for like 8 years. And then I finished school, but I was very depressed during that time, very depressed, and I filled that void by buying kits. I mean, from 2012, in the year 2012, my backlog doubled. I had an entire closet full. And then I moved back with my parents, and my dad cleared out a large storage space in the garage for my backlog. And I just kept buying kits and like just kept buying kits. It got to a point where they wouldn't fit in that closet storage space anymore. So I would just leave them in the, like, I would repack them in the big boxes from Hobby Link Japan, because I would order huge orders. And I'd take the big boxes of Hobby Link Japan, I'd take out all the bubble wrap, and I'd stuff more kits inside, and I'd get them strategically like Tetrised in there, and then I would just shove the boxes under a table in the garage, and then they were stacked on top of the table in the garage. And then at one point, before I actually started moving out, I had like 6 boxes, because I had a queen size bed, and it was just me, so like I'd have boxes stacked against the wall on the bed. And it was a real low point in my life mentally, that I felt like I could just fill the void with plastic. And so much has happened since then. You know, I finally got to move out at the very beginning of last year, because I finished my degree. I got a really good job. I saved up enough money to move out. I moved out, and then, you know, just everything got better. Mental health was so much better. And like, I've still been buying kits, because P Bandai kits are like, it's such an impulse thing. Like, and it's not even an impulse. It's like when they release a kit as a premium Bandai exclusive, and it is of a Gundam or a mobile suit that is like a major plot point in one of my favorite series, it's like, I have to have that. I have to have that. All the Endless Waltz kits are a perfect example of how I had to have those. Some of the Double O kits, some of the Universal Century kits that have been released. It's like, why is this a P Bandai? This is, you know, a main character's mobile suit. Why is that a P Bandai? But I got them. And then the Leos started happening. I told myself for 2018 that I was going to limit myself to buying 5 kits, with the exception of if there was a Leo released. If there was a Leo released, it'd be no holds barred. I'm going to get as many as I want to army build, because the Leo was important to me. It was the first, actually, it was the first mobile suit that I saw animated. So, yeah, and then the Leo was released, and I bought 12 of those, and the Space Leo was announced as a P Bandai, and I ordered 12 of those, and now the blue one was announced, and it has the flight pack, which of course I need, and it has the shoulder-mounted cannons for the command type, and I need those too. But I don't really need a lot of blue Leos, because the blue Leos were a specific group located in Southeast Asia, and they were rather a small force, and they only showed up in a couple episodes, so I probably only need about 6 of those. And yeah, so I mean, I gotta buy stuff. So that's how it happened. But now I'm planning a very large vacation next year, so I really can't buy kits like I have been over the past few years. I need to really buckle down and save money, because I'll be flying to 2 different countries in Asia. And yeah, so I got to save money. So I got to be done for a while. You know, when I come back, then it's no holds barred, catch up on bills and go. Anyway, so that's how I got to this point. Let's talk about how is it affecting me. How is it affecting me? When I first moved out of my parents' house, during that process, I put all of my backlog into shipping boxes, and of course I had the boxes that they were already stuffed into, but the ones that were in the closet, or the ones that were in my bedroom, I packed all those up, and I put them all in a storage unit, just to get stuff moved out and organized. And seeing how much I had unbuilt, it was like looking at, it's like if you worked at a hobby shop and you had just gotten a truckload of Gunpla in. That's what it looked like. And I was kind of proud, But the people around me, like local friends and family who saw this, made me feel shamed. So that was an experience. I mean, I remember we loaded it all up in my dad's pickup truck. We took it to the storage unit to drop it off, and then we had to go back home and get more twice. And we got them all. We got all the boxes stacked up in the far end of the storage unit, and my dad looked at it and he goes, "Son?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "It's a lot of money." And I said, "Yeah." And that was it. Like it was a short conversation. It was your typical father-son conversation about something that should be a big conversation, but it's not, because men don't show emotions to each other, I guess, or something. So yeah, anyway, but then I got it moved in here to my apartment, and I had bought the steel racks that you saw, and I got those built, and I started organizing, and I actually need to organize again because I have been building at a reasonable rate. I can stack some more stuff in there if I fiddle some things around. And good golly, every time I walk in here, when I used to walk in here, it was a joy for a while. It's like I'm walking into my very own hobby shop. I have all the supplies I need. I have any kit I could ever want, right there on the shelf, ready to go. And it's all for me. I don't have to pay for anything because it's already paid for. And that's a wonderful feeling, to come in here and be spoiled for choice. I get to come in and build any kit I want anytime. If I want, to build a master grade and do some detail painting and all this other stuff, I can do that. If I want to build a really quick high grade or an RE100, because those kits are awesome, I love them. I can just pull one off and get it done and be happy. And then there was a time last year where I came in here and I looked at the stack and the wall of kits, and I thought to myself, this pile of money, because that's what it is, it's a pile of plastic money, is the product of years of depression. And for a moment, for a few weeks, maybe a month, I couldn't come in this room. I couldn't come in here at all. I shut the door. And I thought, I've wasted a lot of time and a lot of money on a pile of plastic that I will probably not ever finish building. And that was a very eye-opening experience, a very heavy, weighted experience. So I took that month and I tried to rediscover the joy of Gunpla. I tried to find a new meaning and a new justification for myself, not for other people, for myself. And if I couldn't find a new meaning for this pile of kits, if I couldn't find some reason, a real reason, like not just I'm telling myself this, but like an actual reason, a real feeling of happiness, if I could not find that looking at that pile of kits, then I was going to sell it off. And so I came in here and I picked out a kit the Real Grade Strike Freedom. And I chose that kit because it was going to be the first kit that I had started and finished in this apartment, in my new life. Because I was going to strike out with freedom. That was my mental thing that I made up. And I hate building real grade kits. I built the first two, the Gundam and the Sharzaku, and I loved them for a minute. And then I got the real grade Justice, and I hated it because it was so tedious. And it was too intricate and too small of a package. So I knew if I could find joy in building a real grade, one that is notorious for having breakage, if I can find joy in that, then I'm going to be okay. Then there is a reason I have all these kits, because I enjoy it and I love it. And I built that kit, and it is up on my display shelf because I found joy in building it. I found joy in every little detail of that kit, even when one or two of the racks that holds the funnels on broke. I still found joy knowing that, oh, that's a problem. I can fix that problem and still make it look good. And the kit looks great. Like, it looks really good. That even though like the inner frame itself isn't gold, you know, it's got the chrome parts for the backpack, and then a few little details here and there, and it just looks really good. Like, it's a fantastic kit. And that kit brought me joy. So now when I come into this room and I see this mountain of plastic in mountains of boxes, I can think to myself, each one of those kits is going to bring me joy. Each one of those kits is going to be an experience. Each one of those kits is going to have its own problems and solutions that I get to figure out. I love Gunpla. I'm not ashamed of my backlog. You know, it gets to a point now, it's like even people who don't understand the hobby, if they're coming over, I show them my room. And I'm like, look at all this. This is mine. These are my kits. Look at all these kits, and I'm never going to be bored because I can always find a kit to build and a kit to work on and display and love. So that's how my backlog affects me now. That got deep. I didn't expect it to get deep. But yeah, so that's my backlog. There are pros and cons to this, you know. Let's just list them off. We'll go with the pros first because I'm a positive person today. Like I said, you know, I come in here and I'm spoiled for choice. I can build any one of these kits at any time, and it's, you know, I have kits from almost every series. Almost every series I have at least one kit. So yeah, I mean, if I start watching a series, any one of the anime, you know, I can, oh wow, I really like that design. I don't have that one, but I've got this one. And that was also in the episode, you know, so I pull that out and I can build it. The other great thing is when I have friends over who want to build kits, but they don't have any. I can just pull one off the shelf and be like, you know what? I'll sell this to you I'll sell this one to you for, you know, what I paid for it, or even a little discount, because I'm not looking to make money off of them. I'm just trying to share with my friends. So, you know, I might pull a $15 kit off the rack and be like, you got $10? Here you go. There have been kits that I've given away just because, you know, I love my friends and I want them to enjoy the hobby with me. So, you know, pull a kit off. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to build this one. I want you to have it. And that's a great feeling. I love that. Sharing this with other people. You know, I'm not as covetous of my collection as I used to be. I freely give things away. I freely sell things if someone, you know, wants it. Someone come. I had 2 of the Masquerade Tallgeese 3 kits. And my original intention was, you know, to build one to look like the anime, but then just like the Tallgeese EW was slightly different from the anime EW, I thought, well, what would a Tallgeese 3 look like if it was made in that style, with, you know, the gold trim or something like that. I don't know what I was going to do with it, but I had ideas, and my friend was like, you know, I'll give you $75 for it, and I was like, you know what, cool, let's do it. Yeah, and the other thing though is, like, if I ever am strapped for cash and I really need some money, you know, maybe I'm a few bucks short on a bill or something, I can throw up any one of these kits onto a Facebook group for a decent price and get the money right away. You know, it's saved me a couple of times in the past. It's, you know, paid my bills a couple of times. When I was unemployed, for sure. I sold off quite a few master grades in 2012. But then, you know, once I got financially stable, I bought them all back because I love them. So yeah, there's definitely some pros. Definitely some pros. There are some cons. Space, for one. You know, I mean, you saw the pile. It's encroaching off the shelves and onto the floor now. But you know, it's manageable right now. Once I get my Leos in, I don't know. You know, that's another stack of 12 space Leos. And then, you know, whatever else. But like I said, I've been building, especially the past couple weeks. I've been building like crazy. So I've been, you know, knocking some off of there so I can restack. Uh, probably next week. Yeah, I might restack stuff. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, space is a problem. Moving is a problem. I have moved my collection. Let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times I've had to move my collection, and each time it's gotten bigger. So I had to develop a system of how I was going to move them, where I would stack them strategically and then wrap twine around them a certain way, and that way I could just carry them from the top in big stacks and carry, you know, 2 or 3 stacks at a time. And I wouldn't let anyone else do it. No one else was allowed to touch my kits. Last time I moved, I just put them in boxes. Yeah. Except for my built collection. My built collection is still wrapped up in twine. But man, oh man, moving is a hassle. I don't plan on moving here for a bit. I mean, I will eventually because I'm renting, and I'd like to someday own a house and have a dedicated hobby room. But yeah, so moving is a pain in the butt. Sometimes, and this is like nitpicky minor gripe, but sometimes I don't know what to build next. You know, you see that a lot on Facebook. What kit should I build? And everyone always says, well, buy the kit that you like. Well, I don't have to buy it, and I like a lot of things. So when I ask, what kit should I build, I really don't know. I really need someone to help me make a decision. It's happened a couple of times. Lately, though, I've been on a pretty good kick. I've decided lately that I'm just going to build anything I want on a whim. And if I can't decide, then I pick the easiest thing to build, like whatever's going to take the least amount of work, just to get it done. And that system has worked out really well. So, yeah. I think, I mean, that's it. I mean, I've talked here for about 29 minutes. I think I've said everything I wanted to say. But, yeah. It's a blessing and a curse, I guess you could say. But sometimes I like to just come in here and look at it. all the pretty colors and all the boxes, and think to myself, I want that kit. Oh yeah, I got that kit. Oh, okay. No, there is one more con, a big con, because I've recorded this a couple of times, so I forget what I've been talking about. Because I've been having audio issues. Hopefully, this video doesn't have those issues. But one of the biggest cons that I have found is that I will get an idea for a kit bash or a custom paint job or something, and I feel very obligated to work through these kits quickly. And those big projects take a lot of time that I feel like I don't have. So I have to, I usually end up buying these kits for this project, and then I just never get to them. So then I either end up building the kit just normally, or I end up having doubles of something that I don't need, so I end up giving it away, or something like that. And that's been an issue lately. I mean, I've had an airbrush for a few years. It was just an airbrush for a while with compressor cans, but then in 2016 or 2015, I bought an air compressor and a spray booth, and 2 other styles of airbrushes, and I've never really used them. I've never taken the time to practice because I'm always just building something, and that's a big major drawback, is when you're a creative person and you have all these creative ideas, you just don't have the time to get to it because you have all these other kits, and you constantly have this thought that, like, I really should be building more. I should be just assembling these things and getting them done. So, like, there's the Master Grade Mushu Mark II. I wanted to paint it in AU colors because it's in Titan's colors. The Master Grade Mushu Gundam, I wanted to paint it in either like G3 colors or traditional RX-78 to red, white, blue, and yellow. I have custom paint ideas for so many things that I just don't know if I'll ever get to. The G-Self reflector pack equipped? Reflector pack equipped. That's what the box says. I'm reading it. It has those reflective stickers for the satellite system that it has, and I don't want to use stickers. I don't like stickers. So I have some Spazstics premium chrome paint stuff, and I want to use that on there, but like, when am I going to take the time to practice and actually know how to use it properly so it looks good on that kit? I have a Hyakushiki Master Grade that I want to paint in color shifting paint that goes from gold to red, because I think that'd be really cool. It's gold like the Hyakushiki, but in the right light it's red like the Red Comet. I have all the Endless Waltz Master Grades. I want to paint them fully because those kits are special to me. I have all of the original 5 that were normal releases. I painted all those. It was rattle cans, but I painted every single one of those kits, completely painted them. And they look amazing. And I want to do that for the Endless Waltz kits and the Epion and the Proto Wing Zero and all the Toggies kits. But like, now I don't feel like I have the time to do that. Because I'd like to airbrush them. I would like to learn to airbrush and airbrush those. So maybe, oh, I've got a couple of resin conversion kits. I got one resin conversion kit and then a resin kit of a figure. That, the figure especially needs to be airbrushed. I mean, I could do it hand painting, but like, I would really like to airbrush it. It's Lala soon, and I want to get her skin tone just right, because Lala is, she's my second waifu. Sayla's my first. I haven't gotten a Sayla resin figure because I just don't feel like I could do her justice. I have a resin conversion kit for the original, well, it's the only Master Grade NT1 Alex to turn it into the Mudrock. Because Bandai, why the fuck don't we have a Mudrock yet? Sorry for the language. No, I'm not. I cuss all the time. But yeah. Getting to those projects is, even putting on water slide decals is like a chore to me because they're easy to do. It's just time consuming. I have like 10 kits that I needed to put water slide decals on, and I've only did like 3 or 4 of them, and I got bored with it, or frustrated or something. But yeah, so that's another big drawback of having a large backlog. So anyway, I think I've rambled on enough. I hope I have given some insight into what it's like for me to have this giant pile of kits that I love and adore and hate at the same time. So, continue the conversation. Jump in, say something. I'm going to give a link in the description to Justinius Build's video. Definitely listen to that video too. He brings up some interesting points, asks some interesting questions, and I thought this was a really cool conversation to get in on. And until next time, guys, happy building. Be good to each other.